Hello, viewers. I'm Patrick with Amazing Picture Studios with my wonderful co-host, Dan.
Hi, people. How's it going?
And today, we decided to have a large change in pace from our generally militarized vehicles to a small mining operation. Now, this is a very special docking design that I've created. Pretty much the ship over there, known as the Anchorage. There's a second one known as the Dodger that I'll show you later. It's just the same chip copied and pasted, so that way there's two. We had a problem. Our fleet doesn't have supply lines, so we decided that we needed some sort of cargo ship. I decided to take on that task and got some inspiration from a couple of YouTube videos, primarily Last Stand Gamers and Sage channel.
Yep.
And I took a lot of I watched a lot of their videos, and then I was like, that's interesting. A thinner ship. And I was like, why not a thinner ship with individual modules? What you're seeing here are all separate modules that are all able to dock to the Anchorage for the Anchorage to tow it around. Essentially, the Anchorage is just a giant tug boat that could pull around all of these modules combined. Now, we're going to fly you over to this module. Well, this module down here will fly you up to the Anchorage. If you look at the back of the Anchorage, this is my docking design I came up with. Dan came up with his own that we'll go over in a later video. Mine's more for towing several cargo modules and stuff.
Yeah, yours is a bit easier to dock and it's a little more utilitarian in its design. Mine's a little more permanent in how it works.
Yeah.
May I continue?
Mine's just for quick utility. Now we're going to fly you down to the first module. We'll show you the interior of the Dodger when we get there as we go over how everything works. This here is my original cargo module for transporting goods. Pretty much this thing is the same thing as the docking port on the back of the Anchorage. So the Anchorage could pull back, dock to this, and take off with it. So we're going to show you this here. This is the transport module. Pretty much the interiors are all the same with the exception of a few of them and a couple of the things. So I'll go ahead and walk you through here. Pretty much when you dock, the back of this is pretty much its own room, and you can walk back and forth. Now we'll open up this door, and this is the control room. It has a couple of gyros, gravity generator, so that way you can walk around in it. And then you have some nuclear reactors to provide some power for its own inertia dampening. Now, continuing on through the rest of it are the interior bays for the containment cargo containers. Now, these cargo containers can be accessed from both the outside and the inside. And what do you have to say about the sounds this ship is making, Dan?
Well, it's really kind of cool because before you just walk into a ship and it'd sound kind of dead, you know, you just be like, oh, we're in space. And yes, I know sound doesn't travel in space, but vibration does, and through your boots you will feel and hear things from the ship. So even though it's not entirely realistic, I like it. It's a new addition and it makes things a lot more fun.
Yeah, definitely. In fact, it surprised me because I didn't know it came out with that, and I spawned aboard the Mattis, and I was walking around hearing all the different things going on around me. It sounded like the Mattis was actually a running ship. Yeah. Rather than a defunct relic. Now this cargo transport holds 6 plus 12,
quite a few,
plus 2 more large containers. This is a secondary area. I decided to just ensure that there's more power to it. And this has 2 more cargo containers for more cargo. So pretty much what we did is I built this And I showed him this, and Dan said this was like a pretty epic thing. So we actually thought, well, if we could have a cargo unit, why not have all these other units? And these aren't this isn't all of the units out here. Like, we could come up with a whole new module for something else. This is all interchangeable. The cool thing about this also is I can link the Anchorage up to this end, link that module to this end, and I could pretty much make a whole train with this thing as the Anchorage as the engine for it. So we're going to show you what I call Atlas Station. This goes over pretty much my version of DIY disposable space stations via connecting modules together to make a bigger module. Now these two modules are already perfectly, well, semi-perfectly. There's still some imperfection. It's hard to really get it to work perfectly, but it is a good seal to it. So I'm going to walk you in this end, and I'll show you the living module. Now I created a living module so that way we could start having a mining operation going on here. Inside the living module, it has enough room for, you know, the crew of Atlas Station, the mining station, have a place to live. This one also has cargo containers for, you know, storage of personal gear, and giant windows that I like. I mean, this isn't military, so I don't have to care much about, oh, well, windows are structural weaknesses. And once again, we have personal gear, cargo containers, and my nice little bed thing.
Yeah, they're passage blocks, but we nicknamed them to like the sleep chamber just because it's the closest thing we can get to having an actual sleep chamber.
It just didn't. I don't like the passageways. I never did. But then I figured out that I could just that they look like beds. So I was like, oh, good enough.
Yeah.
And this is all a completely modular design. So if I didn't want to have a sleeping chamber, or if I just want to have sleeping chamber on one side, cargo on the other, I could continue to adjust real easy. In fact, just the multi-purpose of the entire, just how multi-purpose these modules are, is crazy. Because I could pretty much make them into anything. I have two medical containers on this end, so that way you could heal people. I left those open for a reason.
Oh.
And this is pretty much what the seal looks like from the inside. I know it doesn't look like all fine-tuned that you would want to see, but this game is still in alpha or beta or development, so... Well, this game's still in development, so it's gonna look weird.
I mean, as you can see, though, the transition's actually quite good, though. You can just walk from one module straight to the next and really not notice.
Exactly.
So it's actually pretty good.
It's real nice. As I said, this is probably the best seal I got on all of them. So, continuing on, we're going to take you to the Hangar module. This is what I say is exactly really shows how multi-purpose this design is. I mean, you would think about transporting, you know, living quarters or you know, the ability to make things with assemblers and refineries, or, you know, cargo. But this is a mobile placeable hangar. Well, not really a hangar, it's a multiple placeable landing pad to land mining ships and transports and stuff like that. I can land fighters on it. These things could even be used as a military platform. Not that I would really want to use them because they're very lightly armored in comparison to other military objects. And then we have this other module, this last module here, that is the final module that actually got around to making. This is my Refinery module. Now the nice thing with this is I don't need to take you inside to show you everything about it. It pretty much looks the same as the cargo, it's just instead of cargo containers it has refineries. Essentially, what I did is instead of having to enter inside of the module in order to do anything, if you desperately need that gear or anything out there that you need for mining, the refineries and the assemblers are all accessible. Are all accessible from the outside. They're also accessible from the inside. So either you could go inside and start, placing things, or you could stay outside and work on the refineries and stuff. It's that simple. I built it with ease, with pretty much to make things real easy, especially when mining. Because I can tell you one thing, if I'm drilling and, I have a lot of ore, I don't want to walk inside of the thing and open and close doors. I want to just go right to work. And then we have the Anchorage. There's a second one up by the Mattis and the Orion known as the Dodger. It's pretty much the same thing, so I'll show you the inside. We'll come in through the back hatch. Give you a quick...
docking point.
Well, the back hatch, the little docking port. Now, the only downside about these docking ports is they get real dinged up after a couple of uses, so I have to replace them. But they're real easy to replace. It's only like 10 blocks that need to get replaced before, every like 4 or 5 uses.
Yep.
Depending on how well you move around. The only downside is you can't make real tight turns with this. That or it dinks it up more than it's supposed to. Now walking into the Anchorage, this is my decompression chamber. Well, kind of a decompression chamber. It allows you to walk in and it decompresses you, so that way this bulkhead can open. Once these bulkheads open, this is the interior of the ship. Now this is not a big ship, and it's not based off the Thor platform at all. It's based off of just a simple platform built to tow things. It only has two generators, a bunch of gyros, and a gravity generator. So this is just a more or less a tugboat.
Yeah.
It's the same on the other side there. That's just mirrored.
Yep.
Moving on, we have the sleeping chamber, so like, you're in for the long haul and you have a crew of like 4 to 6, most likely like 3. You could have somebody come take a break in, his own little personal chamber. And then also place some medical bays on it, because you never know when you can use some medical. And this is the bridge. Now this is not primarily a combat ship. That being said, I did not design it to be combat ready. This was only designed to be like a quick transport. If this thing is traveling with our fleet, it will be heavily defended by other ships. But this is pretty much nothing but a ship that could tow other ships and, carry the stuff that you need to carry back and forth between the fleet and the mining operation we're going to be setting up. And, I would give you a rundown on actually flying around with those things, but I really don't want to back this thing up. So, yeah, but fortunately for you, you will get a view on how it moves, because I have the Dodger already hooked up to something. So, I'm going to go ahead and cut the film real fast, and I'll start the film up right once we're at the Dodger. Fortunately, you won't have to fly there, like me, due to editing. And, right here we have the Dodger, named after my good old dog, Dodger. He's a little beast. And this thing is already linked up to a cargo container. We're going to take it for a spin. We're going to take it down to Atlas Station and then drive it back. So, drive, lol. More like fly it back. So, Stan gets in here. We walk through the engine compartment. That's just an exterior hatch that makes it easier without having to walk back and forth between everything.
Also for repair purposes.
Yeah. I'm going to go back into the second module, the little cargo module, to ensure that inertia dampening is off. So
yeah, we have to do that.
It doesn't fuck with the turning rates and stuff on the Dodger.
get through all these doors. So many.
Back at the Dodger. We're going to go ahead and fly it down to Atlas Station. So, we're already linked, sealed. It does these little weird things from time to time if you turn too fast. So,
just how it is.
It's just how it is. But this whole thing works really, really well. And it works...
Yes, it does.
It's a good way to transport cargo back and forth between the fleet and the station. And over there you can see the marker target, which is funny because that's probably going to be in another video. It isn't anything that good of a ship. It's just a... You know, it's just a little thing.
Actually one of our test ships for target practice. That's why it's named Target.
Yeah, so that way you could differentiate things. You might see it upcoming in another video. It has a fully customized, it has a fully armored exterior and has like a whole bunch of defensive positions on the interior. We actually put a lot of work into it just to continually blow it up. So, which I find funny because that's pretty much a waste of a ship right there. But you know, it's just something for us to shoot at and test weapons. And yeah, we are arriving at Atlas Station in the Dodger, and you know, cargo's towing along just fine, no issues at all.
Yep, and I'm actually walking around, even though I don't recommend it in multiplayer because things jump around a bunch.
Oh, are you in? Dan?
I am currently making my way to the Dodger because unfortunately the random glitch left me flying about 500 meters behind everything. But I managed to catch up. Alright, I'm coming.
Alright, so we're just
I'm on board, so
we're just gonna start flying back to the fleet. I could hear you like inside the ship.
Yeah.
We'll start flying back to the Mattis. Now, the Dodger and the Anchorage are both very good multi-role, multi-purpose transports.
Yep.
And I'm gonna go ahead and turn off inertial dampening so that way I could get out myself and walk around. With some nice viewing angles so that way we could see things as we fly past. It's actually real nice to look at.
Yeah, that's the other cool thing is when they fixed the bug where you couldn't walk in your own ship moving at full speed, and now you can, so really great.
Really? Because I haven't been flying full speed, I'm only going like 40.
Yeah, I know.
If you want to give it a try, okay, cool. I'm gonna go bring her up to full speed, see what happens.
Yep.
This thing takes a minute to get to full speed. It's not that fast at
Not
accelerating.
like our militarized designs that are based on the Thor engine, which can go extremely fast.
But this thing's good for a non-militarized vessel in our fleet.
Yep.
Anyway, we are arriving at the fleet. The Mattis and the Orion are looking beautiful on my view. I'm gonna go ahead and stop her and turn her around and prep her for the next drop. And once again, I'm Patrick from Mason Fishing Studios with my co-host Dan.
Hi.
And
Bye.
have a nice day.